Okay, the Yamaha on the street, it's not bad. Biggest limiting thing's probably the tires, though. They're not that bad. It's a long range from low end to revving at high. Yamaha might not have as much power, but it pulls. It's the best part about this bike, is the way this engine pulls. Fresh rain, gotta be really careful. Even more so than normal. I missed the Honda quick shift going down, that's for sure. Yamaha just feels good, like a dirt bike. Okay. It's all on me. It always is on a bike. Anti-lock is off. Got revs from really good mid-range up. Top horsepower, I believe, is at 9 grand. Top torque is lower. For a bike at the 21, wide handlebars, tall, it really does go into corners well. Not as good as the Honda. Probably not as good as Suzuki. But there's just nothing to be bothered or worried about. And it's fun. If you couldn't tell. Doesn't have the power up top of the Honda at all. But it's so rideable. Dirt. Straight. More dirt. Avoid. Straight. Nothing on the edge of our tire. That's what we don't want. Shifts really nice. It's just really nice when it's not under power. It's just really nice when it is, just like now. It's fun. Okay, we're here on the Yamaha Tenere 700, one of the most popular adventure bikes going. Now, direct competitors to this bike are the brand new Honda Transalp, which we're reviewing, and the Suzuki V-Strom 800, the new model with the new engine, new everything. But the Yamaha here is a standout for its engine. This engine is so fabulous. It rolls on any speed, anywhere, anytime, any gear. And I'm just itching to get off-road because I want to see how well it works off-road, because I know it's going to work great. It's just so tractable, power when you need it. I mean, it's situated perfectly for that. But anyways, the Tenere has 4.2 gallons of gas, weighs 452 pounds. The Honda Transalp, I believe, is 459, a little bit heavier, and the Suzuki's even heavier than that. Tenere comes with a skid plate, not a heavy-duty one, but it comes with a skid plate. Transalp does not come with anything in that regard. Maximum torque on this machine is 5,500 RPM, 50 pounds of torque, 5,500 RPM. Maximum horsepower, 72, is at 9,000 RPM, and it will wind out. But that low 55 RPM, that explains how it rolls on anywhere, anytime. I mean, it just goes. We're just cruising. I can upshift, it'll still go. I can upshift, it'll still take off. That's one of the greatest things about this. So can't wait to experience that more off-road. But for the street, as you'll see, it's just fine. It's got a tire that, yes, you can take it off-road. It works better than I expected. Gets better traction than I expected. On the street, it's a compromised tire, but it works pretty darn well. I think it affects the handling a little bit. but not too bad. I know they're going to wear out very quickly because we're going to be going to off-road combination tires anyways to have the best experience off-road. That goes for any of the bikes. Now, street handling, well, let's start with the ride. The Yamaha has adjustable front suspension. It has fully adjustable rear suspension, including a preload adjuster knob. So what this means is you throw somebody on the back, you can preload, you can add that and set the bike up and keep it the right setting for a passenger. Or if you're going on a long trip, it doesn't matter if it's street or off-road, crank that sucker up and you can adjust the bike for the weight very quickly and easily. That's one of the things the Transalp is sorely missing. All adjustability except preload, and that's a spanner wrench. So, what's surprising about the Yamaha, it turns in kind of quick, but it's planted. It's very nice. It'll wander slightly, and I think that's mostly because of the tires. But not bad at all. Nothing to worry about. It just goes nice. You can flow all day on this bike, on the street, doesn't matter. Doesn't scare you, doesn't do something strange, it just works. Shifting, beautiful, smooth, light clutch. Pretty light transmission when you're shifting. Now when you're braking, it doesn't stand up. I know this gets tighter. Okay, this is a really nasty corner. Okay, it's not standing up at all. It's staying where I point it. So, great manners for the street. 21-inch front wheel, works really well on the street. 18-inch rear wheel, so you're gonna have a great selection of adventure tires or off-road tires if that's what you want. Comfort on this thing, the suspension on this, on little ripple type stuff on the pavement, it's a little bit harsh. Hits you kind of hard, not terrible. The Honda is noticeably smoother on little bumps on the highway, so to speak. Braking on this, yeah, we'll do anti-lock brake test up here as we did on the Honda. But the brakes, hey, they could be stronger, they could be better. On the street, they're just fine. They're not a compromise. They just could be more sport bike-like, harder hitting, quicker hitting, which the Suzuki actually promises to have. It just flows really nice. And then there's that throttle. You don't have to downshift much if you want something out of it. You don't have to downshift at all, but if you want a little bit of speed, one gear is all it takes. Well, the brake's not being, say, sport bike strong, just short of that. One of the nice things is, I think they're going to work phenomenal off-road. You're not going to have too much bite. You're going to have a really good feel and have to squeeze for what you want to get it just right. Now we'll do an ABS test up here. 60 miles an hour to a full stop. Try to do it on the flat. Okay, that was different. What I got there was really good stopping. It stopped short, but I got some pulsating, especially through the front. I could feel it. If you're not used to that kind of thing, it's gonna mess with you some. The Honda was phenomenal. You didn't feel pulsating, has, shorter suspension in the front, not as pogoey. That helped as well. But let's do this again at 60. Look for fade. Whoa. Start out in second. Well, they didn't fade. They're very strong. There's a lot of action going on. There's some noise going on. The front particularly is releasing, catching, releasing, catching. Suspension is going up and down. It feels like pulsating. That may be an incorrect exact description of it, but that's the feel you get. Stopped short. It wasn't a long stop. Stopped really well, but a lot of interaction going on the bike and the rider there. Didn't notice any fading on the second one. And some bikes, that'll happen. Honda has larger discs than the Yamaha. Brakes are a little stronger. Suzuki, I think, are a little stronger than both of those. Now, if you want to stand up, which we'll be doing off-road a lot, the Yamaha is just a natural for it. They got it right. You know, other bikes like the GS, BMWs are just awesome. You can ride all day standing up. They're beautiful. This Yamaha is just short of that. Foot pegs are a little bit back, and so you're leaning a little bit more forward. But very nice, very natural. I know we're going to enjoy this off-road. Yeah, you can stay here. When you need to stretch your butt, well, stretch your back, rest your butt, long rides. This is one great way to do it on a bike that you can stand up on easily and comfortably. And this would work well. You'll just get a bunch of strange looks from people. Now the Yamaha does come with your accessory bar here, your GPS, your phone mount, whatever you want to do, it's there. There's a GPS is going to go on this. We have the new Garmin. That'll be on there shortly. Yamaha didn't leave the power plug off. We have a 12-volt power plug up here, the cap over it. It's the old style cigarette lighter type, not a USB. But you can get tiny little adapters that go to USB that you put in there. You can even get, I had one, but I wore it out. It's a flashlight that goes in there, and it's tiny. So you'd always have a flashlight with you right there charged. Now, one thing that big 12-volt socket allows you is you can use your older devices that have cigarette-type plugs, and you can still put a converter in there for USB, so not so bad. At least Yamaha gives it to you instead of makes an accessory like Honda. One thing about first time you go to a gas station, the gas cap here, it looks like one that flaps open and stays connected. Don't get that wrong your first try. It comes all the way off. It just doesn't look like it. Don't drop it your first time till you get used to it. It comes all the way off. I almost dropped it. The mirrors are very good, very stable. I do have to adjust them quite often. I think it's this left one here. It'll fade down sometimes, and I'm always having to move it back up. That's a consideration that's bugging me a little bit. Heated grips, well, we don't have them. Cruise control, yeah, we don't have that either. What we have up here in the dash, it's actually quite nice. It's very easy to read. We've got our gear indicator here, our tach on the left, digital fuel gauge on the bottom there, you can't miss that. Right now I'm running the ambient temperature, something that the Honda is sorely, sorely, sorely missing and could have been there so easy. When you go out in extreme temperatures, it's good to know what's going on around you, particularly the cold. Hot, you know it's hot. Cold, you don't know exactly how cold it is. It'll help you figure out if things are about ready to ice up or could have iced up already. Tells me how to ride in different conditions. Now our turn signal switch is in a normal position, feels natural, high beam, normal position. All of this is right. Emergency flashers here, very easy to get to. Red knob, easy to see. Very cool. The button for cycling through the dash is over on the right, and as you see, I have to move my hand over on the throttle, and then I've got to push this. And it's not the most convenient thing. Should have been over here. Could have put emergency over there, whatever. Should have been over here. Everybody knows that. Right at one time, it's like, yeah, I wish it was over there. But what you have is trip 1, trip 2, If you go to reserve, the bars start flashing, then you get a count up, so it'll count up how many miles you've gone on reserve. It's very nice. It resets trip 1 automatically, so if you want to know what's going on and record your mileage, reset trip 2 manually, so you have that number instead of filling up and the number being gone before you write it down. Just like the Honda in that regard. Yeah, it flows really nice. It's good. Now, one of the things I'll point out, this is going to be the most contentious part of anything on this bike. The Tenere 700, as we all know, it's tall. And when you first throw your leg over it, you can feel weight up high. It's all truth. It's the way it is. When you have had the bike and you ride it, that weight up top, you kind of forget about that. But I will promise you this. If you don't like tall bikes, this is not the bike for you. If you don't mind tall bikes, you ride off-road, you like long travel suspension, all that, great, go for it. But just remember this. I told you, every time you get off this bike and every time you get on the bike, you are going to notice it's tall. That's not going away. Always going to be tall, so know that before you make a decision on what you want. The Honda, it's like an inch shorter, feels multiple inches shorter. Never feels tall, doesn't feel top heavy. The Suzuki also feels much shorter, standard. You know, they have broader, wider street seats. They're more comfortable. This has a more off-road focused, slimmer seat. So know that when you're making your decisions. I know what people go through on trying to decide what bike and what really matters to them, and I help people with that all the time. Now, right now, I would like one thing. Heated grips. Then I can continue to wear light gloves, that I can feel the controls better, and I'd be golden. I wouldn't have to do anything, just turn them on right now, keep riding. Right now, it's definitely getting cool. And the button for turning anti-lock off is right here, its own individual button down here. You have to be stopped. It will reset every time you turn the key off. A lot of people leave the key on if it's a short stop and use the kill switch not to have to do it every time. On the highway, this bike feels great. The wind protection from this small windshield is fine. It doesn't cause any terrible spots of wind noise and so forth. The Honda is very comparable to this with the stock windscreens on both. The Honda does not have your accessory bar. Big oversight, or they didn't care, and it was about the price, because the Honda is cheaper than all the Japanese competitors. For street riders as well as off-road riders, I do a lot of night riding. This headlight is very good. The Honda Transalp headlight, it's very good as well. They're different, but they're both quite good and nice to have. So when you push the Yamaha on twisties, it works great. And it's just a lot of fun. This bike is always a lot of fun to ride, except for that tall thing I was talking about earlier. I think it's about time for some warmer glows.